Hold on to your hats, folks. I'm going to run through this scenario, and I want you to tell me, is this a false flag? We have alleged violence. We have the word beheading. We have a victim. We have a culprit. We have a gunshot, and we have a dead culprit. Case closed, end of story, everything's wrapped up nice and tightly, and now we can now say ISIS has come to America. Muslims have beheaded a guy. Disgruntled employee. Workplace violence. We could put any title we want on this. Does this smell of a false flag to you? 200,000 people die from bad reactions to prescription medication every year. It doesn't carry a 3-day news headline. But let's go through the story. First came word of a woman stabbed, then screams, then gunshots, but the full story of Thursday's gruesome beheading, there's that word again, at an Oklahoma food processing plant, especially why it happened, is still waiting to be told. One day later, there are tears for Colleen Hufford, a 54-year-old woman whose head was severed. There are prayers for 43-year-old Tracy Johnson, who is in stable condition at a nearby hospital for treatment of numerous wounds, according to police. And there are questions about 30-year-old Alton Alexander Nolan, the man who authorities say attacked them both and might have gone after more people if not for CEO off-duty reserve sheriff deputy who confronted and shot him twice. Answers may come from Nolan himself. As of 6 p.m., 7 p.m. Eastern, he was coming out of a sedation at a hospital, and wait a minute. Wait, hold on. He was coming out of a sedation at a hospital, and investigators plan to attempt to begin interviewing him as soon as he was coherent enough to understand what was going on, according to Sergeant Jeremy Lewis of the Moore Police Department. Here's what they do know. The attack happened very soon after Nolan learned he'd lost his job. Nolan had been incarcerated until March 2013 for possession of a controlled substance, escaping confinement, and resisting an officer. And he had been trying to convert coworkers to Islam. Lewis also said there may be other information about Nolan's past that he could not have revealed that might help explain the incident, and that the FBI had been called in to dig deeper into Nolan's background. Why is the FBI there? This is an open shut case for the police department, is it not? Why is the FBI there? Quote, once we started investigating this initially and started finding some of the things that had been involved and some of the things that have been saying, we immediately contacted the FBI and got them involved, Lewis told CNN Aaron Burnett. The large rectangular Vaughn Foods processing plant looks like many other from the outside, a no-frills design, nondescript front entrance, and loading bays out back. But Friday, there was nothing normal about it. Police cars were everywhere and uniformed officers walking the property. Some citizens stood outside watching, putting their arms around each other and trying to make sense of the horror that day. Now, let me break to the picture of the suspect. The suspect supposedly is a 30-year-old African-American guy. Supposedly he has converted to Islam. African Americans, if you don't know this, if they're going to convert to quote-unquote Islam, it's going to be of the Nation of Islam type. It's not going to be Islam from Saudi Arabia, Iran, Iraq. It's not going to be that type of Islam. 99.99999% of African Americans are going to convert to the Nation of Islam. And if you don't know anything about the Nation of Islam, it is like saying a Mormon is the same thing as an Orthodox, Eastern Orthodox Catholic. The difference is like the distance between the earth from the sun. I mean, it is just the word Islam is used in both of them, but they don't mean anything. Black people in the United States converting to Islam and belonging to the Nation of Islam is simply a black church. That's all it is. There's no beheadings. There's no beating of their women. There's no chastising their children, all that other weird stuff that they do over in Africa and the Middle East. Now, we have a dead suspect. We don't know if he actually went around trying to convert people to Islam. And what people are we talking about? The victims in question were white. White women, 2 white women. And supposedly this guy's a black guy. So he's fired, and all of a sudden he's going to start beheading people? And this takes precedence over the news. National headlines. I want you to question your intelligence right now to believe this story. And if you see the scene, I'll try and post pictures. If you see the scene, there's a million cop cars, FBI cars, what have you. Over one guy and possibly two women, and a guy shooting him, and he's shot dead. So there's no questions. There's no whatever. Here's what I want you to do. I want you to question everything. I want you to question whether or not there was even a beheading, whether or not there was even a stabbing, whether a guy that looks like his name is Tyrone really belongs to Islam, and he's going around trying to convert people to Islam. And supposedly he was selling prescription drugs or something like that a year before, and it was thrown in jail for it. Now, I don't know if you know the criminal mind. There are degrees of the criminal mind. People who do one type of crime usually don't do the other types of crime. I know the news tells you and Hollywood tells you that they do, but they don't. Somebody who pickpockets somebody doesn't run around murdering them. Somebody who sells drugs usually doesn't run around murdering people. People who murder people, murder people. If you're going to be of the mind to murder people, you're going to go around murdering people. And in fact, you'll like it so much that you'll hire yourself out as a murderer. Now, there's crimes of heat of passion. I caught my husband in bed with somebody. I caught my wife in bed with somebody, and you killed the wife and the lover, or just the wife or just the lover or whatever. That's a crime of passion. That's not the same mindset as a murderer. That's why the law actually sees that as different. Just in case you didn't know. A crime of passion isn't of the same mindset as a murderer. He or she is not going to go around then going, oh, well, I killed one person, I'm going to kill a whole bunch of other people. A murderer kills a whole bunch of people, right? A guy who sells prescription drugs is not a murderer. I want you to get, and firing somebody, I know Hollywood and advertising wants you to think so because they want you to live in fear. Somebody who gets fired doesn't run around murdering people. Now, I know you've heard reports about that in the past, and it was usually post office workers. That's the whole term, going postal. But I want you to question even that. Did somebody really get fired from the post office, go home, grab their gun, come back, and then start shooting everybody? Did that really happen? And I want you to question it to the point of asking, was I there? Did I personally witness that? No. Then it didn't happen. And even videos this day lie. Why? Because I can make a video of somebody coming into the workplace shooting. I can make a video. I can make it a complete fake story. Fake. The person didn't go into an office. They didn't have a gun. They didn't shoot anybody. Nobody fell over dead. But I could make a video showing you somebody going into an office, shooting up the place, people falling over dead, blood everywhere, and I could make it as real looking as possible. And everybody in my video is fake. Weren't there, didn't happen, nothing happened. That's the technology today. I just did a picture, if you go to Facebook, I just did a picture of a guy who had nails sticking out of his face, and I redid the picture, and the guy doesn't have not a scratch on him. His skin is perfect as everything. I am getting just that good. I already know that I could do a video to make it look like somebody did something. I want you to question everything you hear in the news. I want you to question, and unless they prove to you beyond a shadow of a doubt, unless the parents of this guy, the wife of this guy, the children of the guy come out and forward and say, yes, he's a stone cold murderer. He will kill anybody who gets in his way. Unless you have, and even then I want you to question that. Why? Because they could pay those people, just like the woman who supposedly ran into the White House, not the guy, the woman with the car who supposedly ran into the White House. The sister came out and said, I don't have a sister who's in Washington, D.C. Then supposedly she messaged me and says, oh, I was mistaken. I thought it was my other sister. Oh, yeah, all right, whatever. Sorry, I have witnesses that said that corroborated your story that she was not, in fact, not in D.C. Not. How many negatives can I throw in that sentence? She was not in D.C. Wasn't there. Wasn't her sister. Wasn't there. Didn't happen. I have already double checked a lot of these stories and they are untrue. I want you to question everything. Question everything. Believe nothing. Thank you for watching the Shakaama Live Show.